guess we should probably go live. I think it's about time for that. Yeah, I think we should. All right, Dave, let's go ahead and fire it up. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, you're now listening to the world. Well, you're not listening. You're also viewing the world-famous Rich Wilson Show. And it starts right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world-famous Rich Wilson Show.
Hey, folks, how you doing today? Oh, man, what an interesting... My whole day was screwed up. My entire day was messed up. Do y'all also have the problem with daylight savings time? Like, I legitimately woke up this morning, thought, I got the whole day ahead of me. I slept in a little bit, but, you know. And I went to doing some stuff and went out in the garage, do some things. The next thing I know, I'm like, why is it, that late? And I'm looking at my clock on the wall, which is analog, and it says that it's 8 o'clock. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm good. I still, But I look at my phone, and my phone says it's 9 o'clock. And I'm like, something's not right. So I went to check it out, and I'm like, oh, great. It was daylight savings time. I lost an hour. Gee. Does it really count as sleeping in if you wake up an hour later because daylight savings time? You still technically only slept the normal amount of hours. You just woke up at the wrong time because the times changed while you were sleeping. I don't know. You tell me. Chime in on the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the world-famous Rich Wilson Show. I'm Rich Wilson, and you're not. By the way, folks, you want to check us out? One of the things we need to bring up the Discord and see if anybody's even over on our Discord channel. We never bring that information up because usually nobody's on it, but we do have it, so that way people can check it out. There's a voice channel, but I won't use it while I'm on show. So anyway, folks, if you've got a Discord account and you want to check out the chat over in Discord, just look up. I believe it's the Rich Wilson Show. Give me a second here. Let me see if I can get an invite link and post it in the channel. I think there's a way to do it. Create a link. Yep, let me do that. And it'll close that. I don't know why I'm doing this. This should be something that Dave does. But, I'm doing it because I'm just figuring out this stuff as we go along. But that would be a good way to to also talk to us as well in case you're not on YouTube or if you're over on Facebook. Let's see here. Let me see if I can put this. Will go into this one chat. Paste. Boom. There it is. That's the link that'll get you to Discord. Right there. And that'll take you over in the Discord channel. Become a part of that. And what I do on Discord, and it's only on Discord, is you can go in there, and if you got any cool articles or any news stories that you want me to talk about, boom, right there in the news ideas section. That's where you can post in stuff for the show. Then we have show announcements or anything new. Like one of the announcements that's going to be coming up later on tonight is there will not be a show on Wednesday. Because I've got doctor's appointment, then I got to kick the old lady out and send her up to Central Texas, and they got a bunch of other different things that's going on. So there won't be a show on Wednesday. But yeah, like I said, if you look at the link there in the chat, you'll see the link to the Discord channel. You can go over there. I've got Discord up as well. So there you go. So anyway, the stories for tonight. Biden pretty much is now blaming everything on Putin. Everything. I do have a video of him. It's not a great one. And then also had a really interesting conversation with a friend of mine today. Spoke to my friend. His name is Ronnie. And Ronnie, sweet. Ronnie asked me a specific question on whether or not I would defend this country right now. And I think my answer to you would be shocking because being a vet, I bet it would shock you. Okay, so how bad was your head gasket? You said your car's back up driving. For those of you who don't know, Super Dave, longtime viewer of the show, Super Dave is had car troubles yesterday and broke down several hours from home. Was having some problems like that. Got it checked out, and it says your car's back up and driving. So there you go. That's a good thing. He's got that same thing that my old lady's going to this weekend or this week coming up. I'm glad though that you got that worked out. I really am. I'm glad you got that worked out. Like I said, the way you were talking about it first, it sounded like it was like a head gasket issue or something like that. Hopefully, it wasn't that. It evidently wasn't that severe. If they fixed it, it was just the sail that needed to replace, and one of the VBT valves. It was just a valve and a VBT sensor at the seal, and had to replace that. Otherwise, just basically seals. Okay. Well, hey, as long as it was something that was easy to do and didn't cost you several $1,000s to get work, because the head gasket's not cheap. Ultimate. One of the other reason. There you go. I'm play testing Diablo 3. Kill Mill's listening to us while he's playing Diablo 2. A lot of people jumping on that Diablo 2 thing. So there you go. Diablo 3 just opened up the play test for the next season, so I've been playing that. Not really having that much fun with it. This season doesn't benefit the class that I play. So anyway, one of the other things I'm not quite in the headspace. I'm been kind of in a funk today. A person that I got to meet multiple times and got to have a couple conversations with. His name is Scott Hall. You guys know him as formerly as Razor Ramon, WWE legend. He suffered a fall, and if you couldn't tell, the belt's in the background, and the Undertaker sits over my shoulder. Actually, I think the Undertaker's guarding my my Ruger sitting there, but making sure that it doesn't do anything, because God knows, for some reason, they think that'll do something. Guarding my SR-45. But anyway, so he suffered a fall this past week and last week, and had to go into the hospital to have hip surgery done. Oh, and Dean Lynn's over in Facebook just checked in and said he's on the road to Spring War. So anyway, so Scott Hall suffered a fall and he did damage to his hip. Well, he got taken into the hospital, and unfortunately, in the process, they were trying to get everything stabilized so they could do surgery on his hip, and unfortunately, he formed a couple blood clots. And well, the blood clots made it up to his heart. Scott on Sunday suffered multiple heart attacks, and unfortunately, by the end of Sunday night, they had to put him on life support. And this morning, Kevin Nash on his Instagram posted out that they're waiting for all of the family to arrive, and then they're going to disconnect his life support. Been waiting most of the day to hear the news. I've been praying that a miracle will happen. And if any of y'all are familiar with Razor Ramon, they go to unplug him, and all of a sudden he opens his eyes and goes, "Hey, yo, I'm not dead, Chico." I hope that he is. He's a wonderful, wonderful human being. Was stuck battling drug addiction and just some horrible demons in his life, and he fought those demons, and got himself clear, and was really living a good life now, and had really gotten everything straightened out, and then this happened. And it just reminds you, folks, that at a moment's notice, you could be living your best life, and it can end that fast. It really could. I'm going to steal something that Bully Ray has said that he took from Mark Henry. Give your loved ones flowers now while they're alive and they can appreciate it, instead of waiting until they're dead. If you got loved ones that you ain't talked to in a while and you wonder about things, say something to them now. It's like he said today. They were talking today because I listen to Busted Open Radio on Sirius XM. Bully Ray asks a question. When you say that you were upset with somebody, he'll ask you, "Are you willing to go to their funeral?" And you're like, "Yeah, pay my respects." Then why won't you? If you're willing to go to their funeral, why don't you call them right now? Now, if you say no, then don't call them. But if you would say yes, pick up the damn phone and call somebody. Square things away. Another thing I like to take from an ESPN anchor a long time ago was talking about some some baseball players down in Florida that were having a good time on a boat, and they crashed into a jetty and killed one and critically wounded another. And when he was giving a report, he says, as of right now, he's listed as day-to-day. And he stopped for a minute. And he looked dead square in the camera and said, "But aren't we all?" And we are. Every one of us, we're day-to-day. Because, may the gods forbid something happen. It very well could. Okay? It very well could. So let's get on with the president of the United States, who has decided to blame everything on Putin. He did have a speech today or yesterday that talked about the inflation and of course the rise of gas prices. The sad reality is the man literally is blaming everything else. Everything else but anything that they've done. What's worse today is one of his own people, in the midst of all this bullshit, said that the president is calm and is more, he's calmer than and more. I forgot what the word they used. More, I don't even know what they said than he's ever been before. I don't. Right now, I don't need a president that is calm and tranquil. It was tranquil. Calm. He's more tranquil than he has been in his entire political career. Now's not the time to be a tranquil president. It's not. The Russians got close to dropping bombs in Poland today. Close. The Chinese sat there and said that their friendship with Russia is ironclad and cannot be broken. You've got all this stuff going on, and you've had one U.S. journalist get shot and killed. I saw the pictures. His neck's blown out of the side, out the side, and I'm not going to put these pictures on here, okay? But I have seen the photographs of the guy's neck blown out. They were going to a checkpoint, clearly identified as journalists, passports, the whole 9 yards, and the Russians opened fire on them as they were coming up to the checkpoint. They were in a vehicle that had journalists written in English, Russian, and the language that the Ukrainians speak. I don't believe it's Ukrainian. It's a dialect of Russian. Okay. If people know, please chime in on one of the chat rooms. Okay. The vehicle's clearly marked, and they still opened fire. They wounded the cameraman, killed the journalist, and wounded one other person that was with them. Then today, Fox News, one of their journalists has got shot, and he's in critical condition. And 2 other members of their staff was shot as well by the Russian army. They're blowing up apartment buildings. There was a picture of a lady who was pregnant that was messed up pretty bad from the bombing on the hospital. She passed away today, and her unborn child. Atrocities, just absolute atrocities. You're not supposed, even in a war footing, no matter how bad it is, you're not supposed to shoot the journalists. You're not supposed to shoot the medical workers. They're supposed to be neutral ground, right? Russia's throwing. You're not supposed to kill. You're not supposed to shoot and kill the civilians. Russia's throwing those rules right out the damn window. And what do? Oh, well, we're gonna say harsh things and we're gonna put more sanctions on them. The Russians have now gone to China to get money to continue funding their operation. According to the Russians, they absolutely deny this claim, but U.S. intelligence has already they intercepted the communication. Understand that none of us can do this shit anymore without the other country knowing about it. So to sit there and outright deny it and say that they never did that it's futile. So let's watch this video by Biden and let's react to it, because I haven't watched it. I've been really, really busy today with the short amount of time that I had. So let's go ahead and watch the video.
Let's be absolutely clear about why prices are high now. They're high for 2 reasons. One was COVID. The way the global economy works.
No.
A factory in Taiwan
I can't
that
pause
makes
this.
computer chips shuts down due to a COVID outbreak. It causes a ripple effect to slow down auto manufacturing in Detroit, literally, not figuratively. So because of the pandemic, we had significant disruptions in the supply chain. And our supply chain is so important with so many materials that come from other places. At the same time, because the rescue plan boosted the strength and speed of our recovery, Americans had more money in their pockets. And during the pandemic, they wanted to spend that money not on restaurants and vacations because of COVID, but on hard goods, home improvements, televisions, automobiles.
That ain't wrong. I delivered a lot of those home improvements.
The lumber factories weren't open. They weren't making 2x4s. Plywood wasn't available. I can go down the list. The very products that we needed for the things they wanted to buy are slowed down by disruptions in the supply chain. So what happens? Prices went up significantly.
Not because of that.
Let's look at automobiles. Last year, new automobiles accounted for 1/3 of all the inflation in America because the auto companies couldn't get the computer chips. The price of an automobile skyrocketed. And now, the second big reason for inflation is Vladimir Putin and gas prices. Not a joke. We've seen the price of gas go up over $1 just since he put his troops on the border.
Not true.
On the border of Ukraine. They went up $1.05. Big part of that reason is Putin began amassing troops along the border and then crossed. And guess what? The world took notice. The market anticipated. Prices went up. And then Putin invaded. Make no mistake, the current spike in gas prices is largely the fault of Vladimir Putin. It has nothing to do with the American Rescue Plan.
That's a lie. Okay, did you hear what he fucked it up? Did you hear that? He said the prices with Russia going into Ukraine went up $1.05. Then he goes back and says that prices went up, then Vladimir invaded. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what caused the inflation. It wasn't because businesses shut down, because people weren't working when they were shutting down during COVID. So money was not coming in. And then the U.S. government dumped trillions of dollars into the economy, giving people who weren't working extra money. So what did people who were not working, sitting at home with extra money do? Bought shit. And so because they put all this money into the economy for people to buy stuff, which wasn't getting out as fast as it was prior, the prices went through the roof. So he's sitting there saying, oh, because people wanted to buy stuff that wasn't available, that cost. Yes, because the government gave them the money to do so. Because people weren't working. So when they didn't have the money, they were scraping. Some people weren't going to make it. And I understand there was some families out there that needed the money. Because in a complete shutdown, they had no way to get money, no way to get food, no way to take care of their children. I had much better ideas than giving people money that they could have done. We could have definitely gone to a voucher system where each family could register online. And there was ways that the government then, you said, these are my bills. This is my lease agreement. This is my, my internet. This is this, this is this, this is this. And the government takes those accounts and the system would then pay to those accounts. It's not hard to do. Everybody's like, oh, that would have been really complicated. No, it isn't. And they give you a voucher system where you can go to what local grocery store you have. You have say you have a family of 4. You can get enough food to provide for a family of 4. So nobody would get cash. But no, that's not what happened. We just started sending out checks. Okay? So you flooded the market with money. I told, and you guys watching this right now, I've told you before, when there is more demand in the market than there is materials, then demand goes up. Well, when people don't have money, demand is down, right? But you give those people a whole bunch of money and they're not working right now, demand goes up. But the supply started going down. Why? Because a lot of those people getting money were people that worked in these industries producing goods that weren't producing goods. Where the fuck did they think it was going to go? There's only one way that can go. If they wouldn't have dumped all this money into the system, we would not have the problem. Many of us sat there and said, who know how the market system works. We're saying in the beginning, all this money being dumped in the system is a horrible idea. We said this. I even argued it when Trump said that we're going to be sending out all this money. I sat there and said this is a bad idea. There is a way for people to register online to the government. It doesn't take long to set these websites up either. I don't understand why they have this problem, where people can register all of their bills that they have. Now, it doesn't count for your other things, but your primaries, your gas, your utilities, your internet service. Because you're at home, you're going to need to have internet service. I'm sorry. But internet and cable, you got to stay entertained, okay? And kids were doing homeschooling. You need the internet, okay? Your rent, your mortgages, stuff like that. And the government could have taken care of that to those companies and made sure those were paid. Yeah, sure, your utility companies and everything else probably had to wait 4 years to get their money, but at least the government says, nope, from this date to this date, it's on us. Okay? It's not hard to do. It's very easy to do. People keep saying, that would have been an overly complicated system. It's not. Trust me. They already have part of that system already in place. And then give a voucher system that says you have a family of 4, family of 2, you buy yourself, whatnot. Okay. And you go to a grocery store and you show up with that voucher. They register the voucher and say, okay, I'm just going to use my friend over here, Ben. Okay. Ben, right now, lives by himself, goes to the grocery store. Hey, I'm Ben, man, this is, and they say, okay. And then you go, they'll put together something. Okay, tell us what your allergy, the grocery store itself, what's your allergies? I have allergies to this. I'm allergic to this and this and this and this. Okay, cool. And they put together, meals for you. Here would have been another thing. Here's what they really could have done. This would have been really great. All these meal at home kits and stuff like that. Why didn't the government reach out to them and get contracts with them to set up to start sending out? Some of those wouldn't be able to handle it, but there's multiple. There's ways that this could have been done so much better without dumping cash into the system. And that's why we have the inflation problem we have. They're still talking about giving out more money to this day. But I thought we created 6.5 million jobs and people were back to work at the lowest unemployment we've ever had, which almost every one of those damn jobs existed before the pandemic, with the exception of maybe about 400,000, 500,000 jobs. I give the man credit for 500,000 jobs. 6 million of those jobs existed before the pandemic. They did. Okay? He didn't create 6.5 million jobs. Don't let him blow that. But anyway, I digress. The car market raised up 1/3 of the inflation because people were sitting at home getting free money for the government. They were out there buying cars, home repairs. God knows I delivered a bunch of home repair stuff. Okay. But no, it's because the federal government dumped in so much cash into the market at that point that people were going out and buying all kinds of crap. Hell, I knew people that bought computers, PlayStations, and all kinds of stuff with that money. That's not what it's supposed to be for, but that's what they used. That money was supposed to help you survive through the pandemic, not buy a bunch of extra shit. But I digress. What you do with the money is up to you. The government didn't say you couldn't. They just gave you money. Why? I know. Because at the time, my girlfriend got a couple of those checks. Hell, my roommate got one. I didn't. I didn't qualify. Okay. I had to work through the damn thing. I still had to deliver. Got COVID twice because of it. Because I was exposed to people every single day during the worst of it. I ain't getting no money for that. People are like, oh, well, the bad part is, when's the government going to reimburse me the $30 I used in buying basically, stuffy nose, upset stomach meds from the pharmacy? I'm not getting any money from them. I just claim it as a tax deduction issue. I claimed it as a tax deduction. They can nod at me for $20. Go for it. I dare you. But then he goes on to talk about fuel prices. Fuel prices skyrocketed after Putin invaded Ukraine. No, they didn't. Since Putin's been in Ukraine, fuel price has gone up 68 cents. Do I need to repeat that again? 68 cents. Why? Went down. Here's the thing. Everybody's like, that's not what I saw, blah, 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 blah. Went to the local gas station right here in League City, Texas. Okay? Let me explain to you about South Texas. Okay? Down here, Houston, down to Texas City, and all them, we have some of the cheapest gas in the United States of America. Okay? Everywhere when they say gas hit $7 a gallon, down here it's $4. Okay? So I checked with them because it literally, I talked to the owner of the gas station, and he specifically told me, he goes, I don't know where they're coming up with this story about how Putin's invasion caused the gas prices to go from normal to through the roof. And I was like, why is that? He goes, it's gone up 68 cents. Gas had already skyrocketed before that. I was like, it's only 68 cents. He goes, it's only 68 cents. He said, now in some places with their taxes and stuff like that, it's raised exponentially. He said, but we literally have seen a 68 cents raise in gas. He goes, in a lot of places across the country, it's 68 cents in gas. He goes, look at the news reports. They only show you certain cities. He goes, well, those cities were already at $4 and, $5 a gallon before Putin invaded. He said, but then you look at the regulations that those cities have on fuel and what it costs in order to make fuel to go there. Now, understand, the people that live around here know fuel. They majority of the people around here, that's what they do for a living. It's oil production and refineries. Okay? The guy that owns the gas station, 22 years working at a gasoline refinery at ExxonMobil. I need to slap him, though. He's the one who told me I should invest in Exxon. I'll make some more money. So far, I've lost money. He's like, he goes, look at the regulations in these states. He goes, why do you think it costs this much in the state of Nevada, but then you go over to California and it costs a little bit more? He said, but Nevada feels the effects of it. Now, once you go to Utah, the prices start dropping significantly. And he's not wrong. I drove from down I-80 all three-quarters of the way across the country, and the further I got away from California, the lower the prices dropped. And that was back before this crap was going on. Well, no, when I left Nevada, it was at $4.60 a gallon. I remember I was driving a Tahoe. But it had dropped, and now it's back up again. So don't let you believe that bullshit. It's a lie. Okay? It's an absolute lie. Okay? Fuel prices were already skyrocketing. Even if Putin didn't invade Ukraine at the rate we were going at, we were going to be here. It was just taking 3 more months. The only thing he did is he sped along the process of us getting there. They had speculated back in January that we were going to hit $150 a barrel in July. We beat that mark. Inflation currently is at an all-time high. Because every decision the government has made concerning the inflation, concerning the fuel, concerning the everything else has been wrong. Has been absolutely a failure. And this administration's going to blame every single person. But it's like Obama. You remember when Obama was in office? And Trump did it too. For a while, it was everybody's fault. Obama was there for 8 years, still in the last 2 years of his presidency, was still blaming Bush for shit. You got Biden running around. First, it was shit Trump did. Then it was COVID. Now it's Putin. If Russia pulls out of Ukraine tomorrow and Ukraine rebuilds itself and the American economy is still in the toilet, I would love to see what the next excuse is going to be, what the next blame is. I mean, hell, we've had some media outlets go, well, the only reason why it's a problem right now is because Fox News. Okay, cool. Then all the other bullshit during the last 2 years the last 4 years was, all right, fine. If you're going to go that route, CNN and MSNBC did it. This passing the buck down the road and laying the blame on everybody else in this world is just ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. But that's what they're doing. And the worst part about it is, watching my Facebook feed today and watching my Facebook feed over the weekend, so many people echoing those statements. This is Putin's fault. This is this fault. This is that fault. This is that. I think the only guy that wasn't blaming it was my former history teacher. He's just saying all this crap is fake news, that it's not real. Even though I tried to tell him, dude, a reporter had the side of his neck blown out. I saw the photographs. He's still trying to say it's fake news. I love that man to death. That man taught me a lot about things. He taught me real history, legitimate history. He even taught us the bad things in history that people don't want to talk about, all of it. It's not a wonder, though. He might be He's still a great guy. You want to talk to him about U.S. history, that man still to this day tell you anything you want to know. Current affairs, though. But let me get to my next story. I had an interesting conversation today. A friend of mine named Ronnie called me up today. And he wanted to know. He asked a question, a very interesting question, and I think, I want to share it with you. All right, so a friend of mine asked me this morning, if the country was invaded, would I defend it? It's an interesting question to have a conversation about, but I responded back with no. And they were puzzled by this. And they said, what do you mean, no? Well, you're a veteran. Isn't it your duty to protect and defend this country? I responded back with no. It was, but not now. But I thought you guys said that never expires. It doesn't. And they still really confused. And they responded back to me and said, well, how could you just sit idly by while another country invades ours? How could you just sit there and do nothing? And I responded back, I didn't say that I would do nothing. I didn't say that. They're like, well, I don't understand. My response back was, I know. So a little bit of back and forth of them trying to figure out and try to say the things about me, being a veteran and all this. And finally they asked the right question. They asked, help me understand why that's your response. I don't understand. That's the right question. And I said, honestly, when you think about it, why would anybody want to defend this place right now? I mean, why would you defend this country? Their response back was, well, because I have freedoms and freedom of speech. Do you? Think about it this way. If you say something that someone doesn't like, they ruin your life. They'll destroy you. Instead of how it used to be, when somebody said something you didn't like, you could get angry with them, but life moved on. Your life was okay tomorrow. You went and did other things, or you simply acted as if that person no longer existed in your life, and you moved on with your life. But nobody put any real effort into destroying you, unless you were like a political official or somebody famous. Just everyday Joe down the street. They didn't try to destroy you for you saying something they didn't like. They just didn't like you anymore. Or they just didn't talk to you. And sometimes you had your high school drama bullshit where they go talk crap about you to other people, and that was high school stuff, and it went away, So do you have freedom? Because now they'll try to destroy every fiber of your being, all the way to getting you fired from your job, getting you, breaking up your family, you name it. So do you have freedom of speech? Hell, in some instances, when people have defied what the government has said, they get incarcerated now. So do you have freedom of speech? And we're kind of puzzled by that. So then they asked me another question, they didn't ask me another question. They said, Well, my freedom of religion. Do you have freedom of religion? People who have religious beliefs and thoughts are attacked on a regular basis now. If you don't go with the in crowd, you're a problem. Some people have gotten to the point that they can't publicly worship. So do you really have freedom of religion? And it happens on all sides. You have members of religion striking out against other members of religions. And so do you really have freedom of religion any longer? You have governments that tell you can't worship. They claim because of safety concerns. But if you want to go to a building and pray, and that building is willing to accept the responsibility and the actions of what happens, then why? Why is it a problem? So do you really have freedom of religion? He said, well, I can go wherever I want to go and see people whoever I want to see. Can you? Before, a couple of years ago, we had this thing running around and you couldn't go from place to place. And then the government issued this card thing. You know, they said we would never do that. In fact, one of the scenes in Red October, he looks at, you know, in the conversation they had, he goes, I will travel from state to state and have an RV. You could do that in America, right? And he says, yes, you could do that in America. You could travel state to state. He goes, no papers? No papers. But as we saw last year, that wasn't the case. Some places said you can't even go outside, go anywhere without them. And now you can't afford to go anywhere else. Prices keep raising to the point you can't even afford to get in your own car and go anywhere. Sure, you could get out and walk. And they used to do that. Go buy a horse. Doesn't cost you gas. It's more expensive to upkeep the horse, but you could ride a horse some places. Other places, it's illegal. So can you really go place to place? What about my right to own a firearm? Do you really have a right to own a firearm? I mean, I live in a state where concealed carry is part of your constitutional protection and your fundamental rights. So, but they keep passing all these regulations, and people don't even understand that in the foundation of this war, after the Second Amendment was written, somebody literally asked one of the framers of the Second Amendment, can I own a cannon? Because military owns cannons, but as a citizen, can I own a cannon? And they said, yes, you can own a cannon. So the argument that it's a military weapon and people shouldn't own military weapons is fundamentally incorrect. Our own framers, who designed it, even stated that case. But you have the government passing constant regulations, constant rakes on taxes when they can't get bills passed. So do you really have the right to own a firearm? Can you walk into a store and buy a gun? No, I understand some of the regulations we have, like lunatics shouldn't own a gun and felons. But I don't understand why you'd think we have a freedom to own firearms when obviously that freedom comes with an insane amount of restrictions. And he's like, so then what would you do? You said, when I said you would sit idly by, you said that's not what you said. So then what would you do? It's real simple. It's a very easy answer. 5 beautiful souls. Just 5. And I know some of my friends and some of my fans are probably sitting there listening to this right now, and they're like, well, just 5? Yeah, 5. 4 of them live in Nevada. 1 of them lives in Florida. They're my children and my grandchildren. If somebody from another country came here and tried to impose their will, because of my 2 sons, my daughter, my grandson and my granddaughter, I would tell them, you picked the wrong motherfucking country. Period. That's why I would do it. I don't do it for this belief and love of my flag and the freedoms of everyone else. I do it for my children and my grandchildren. Just like I know my other family members, because somebody say, well, what about the rest of your family? My other family members would do the same thing. I know my family. They would defend this place because of their children and their grandchildren. Hell, a couple of them great-grandchildren. That's why they would defend this country. Because maybe, just maybe, one day down the road, our children will fix this. Because we as an adult have proven that we can't. We can't care for this place like we're supposed to. If we're going to argue over the fact on whether or not somebody said something that may have hurt your feelings, and we're willing to go to war with each other over it and kill each other over it, then do we truly deserve it? Do we truly deserve this? We don't. Freedoms aren't free, people. Rights are not guaranteed. For those of you who say that God gave me rights, it doesn't mean that a person cannot come in and oppress you and take away those rights. You may still have them mentally, but physically you do not. So do not think for an instant that because God gave you those rights, you will always have them, because somebody can come along and take them away from you. Mentally you may have them, but physically you do not. We've seen this over and over and over again. Ramped up even more over the past 3 years. Folks, like I said, I would fight if a foreign entity came on this land to take away the things that my children and my grandchildren value. Because I value them more than I do myself and more than I value anything else. Period. And if you don't have children, I'm not saying don't fight. But you may know somebody who can't fight, who has children. And give yourself a sense of purpose. And tell your friend, I know you can't fight, but I'll pick up the mantle for you. If we could do that very thing, if we could have that very thought, then just maybe, we will put away the stupidity. We will learn again to love each other like they're our neighbor, our friend, our family member, our own children. Maybe then this place would be worth defending. It's unfortunate that we live in a world where somebody like myself, who always has a positive outlook on things, has to make this kind of statement. It's unfortunate. I always tell my girl that I always hold out hope that there's a chance that things won't go as bad as they seem that they're going. But we all need to wake the fuck up. Yeah, people are going to say shit you don't like. People are going to say mean things. It happens. So then you have to ask yourself, do you let that define you for the rest of your life? Do you let that determine your next course of action? Because even those of you who strike out against a person who says something you don't like, understand that person now controls you. That's what it is. It's control. Every bit of it's control. If I say something you don't like, and you hate me, and you decide that you're now going to do everything you can do to ruin me, I control you. You may say, no, it means I'm standing up against you. No, I'm controlling you. My actions have now dictated yours. What I have done has now made you do something. And so actually what you've done is given me and other people the strength over you. Stop letting people have strength over you. Stop letting people tell you what to think and what to do. Once you break that, then all of us can figure out how to get along. All of us can figure out how to love each other again. And all of us can succeed. And we can send this world forward for our children, our grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and on. With an amazing and wonderful world that they should live in. If we don't, then the only thing we can do is just try to keep some resemblance of operation going. And then pass the buck on to them, and hopefully they can fix it. Thank you. All right. So, yes, I did. Somebody asked, is this pre-recorded? Yeah, I did that this morning after I had the conversation. So I'm trying to get something confirmed on some information. By the way, what'd you guys think of that? This is crazy. See, this is not. Trying to figure out if something's confirmed, and I can't find anything on this whatsoever. Okay. All right, it is. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, to close this show out tonight, this is not how I wanted to end it. I was really hoping for some positive news, but now I don't have it. Go ahead, Dave, put it up. And in fact, the sad part is because it's copyrighted, I can't put the music up. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is our sad time to report that Scott Hall, aka Razor Ramon, passed away from his complications of the hip injuries and and the multiple heart attacks. Like I said, one hell of a man. He was a great guy. Had a lot of demons, a lot of things he had to get over, but he got over them. Scott always took time to make sure that he posed for photographs with friends, fans, signed autographs, went out of his way to promote talent. I was watching a video earlier of Matt Cardona when he won the Intercontinental title, which, Scott, Razor Ramon had won multiple times. And they took a picture together with it, and he let Scott put the strap over his shoulder one more time. But yeah, according to Sean Waltman, who is formerly known as X-Pac, it is official that Razor Ramon has passed away. And the only thing I can say, and the best terminology I can use for you in the wrestling business, Scott, brother, we'll see you later on down the road. Just understand that big pay-per-view up there, that car crash sound, and that guitar riff is hit. And the crowd upon that heavenly arena just yelled out, "Hey, yo!" Scott, we'll see you later. We'll see you on the other side, buddy. For everybody here at the Rich Wilson Show, I'm Rich Wilson, and this show's coming to an end. You guys have yourselves a good night, and we'll see you later on down the road. Good night.